Hey friends, how are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing so well. But welcome back to another thrifty video. I am going to share with you guys today some of my best tips to thrift like a professional. I am a professional thrifter. I go thrifting all the time, and I use my thrifting business in order to make my income. So I thrift, I resell those pieces that I find online on places like Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, and I also sell to subscribers, and I share the whole journey on my YouTube channel. So if you're looking for some really good, some really helpful thrifting tips, then you are in the right place. Today we've got 10 tips on how to be a professional thrifter, how to thrift like a pro, and I think that this is a very valuable video. People are always asking me how I find the pieces that I find, and these are my best tips. No holds barred. Everything that I do that is super helpful, I'm gonna share with you. So if you guys like this kind of transparent, more focused on helping you guys video, then make sure to let me know in the comments and hit that subscribe button and give today's video a thumbs up. But let's head into the video. Tip number one, the thing I do, or I try to do every single time I go thrifting, is go prepared to the thrift store. You don't want to go to the thrift store on an empty stomach. You don't want to, have your phone about to die. I've done it before. The most helpful thing you can do to have a good thrifting trip is to be completely prepared to spend hours in the thrift store. Finding good things, you don't do that right off the bat. You don't do that super quickly all the time. Sometimes you can walk in and find an amazing piece, but that is the outlier. The majority of good pieces are found from continuously looking through a thrift store for hours at a time. So if you're gonna do that, you need to be prepared. You need to have eaten, you need to have gone to the bathroom or know if there is a bathroom at that location. You need to bring water with you. If you have some sort of health needs, definitely bring a snack so you don't feel faint while you're thrifting. You wanna be fully prepared, fully watered, fully bathroomed out, and fully taken care of in needs of food if you're gonna be there for hours. Tip number two is to start with the highest profit areas of the thrift store. This is mostly gonna pertain to if you are thrifting to resell, but this is also a good tip too if you're looking for yourself. The highest profit areas of the thrift store are usually going to have the pieces with the highest retail value, as well as some of the best high quality items. So I'm talking here jeans, dresses, shoes, purses, and also outerwear, jackets and coats, things like that. If you're in a pinch and you don't have time to look through every size and every single style, then those are your main areas that you're gonna wanna hit, because those are the pieces that are gonna sell for the very most or be the best high quality items that you can find in a short trip. So this is just a better utilization of your time. You don't want to just be, sucked in by the tank top section if you know that you don't want to sell tank tops because you can not really resell them for more than 15, 20 bucks. That's something that will help you focus in on making the most of your thrifting, and usually those pieces will sell for the most money too. Tip number three is my biggest tip, especially if you like to go to the Goodwill outlet, if you want to try rummaging through bins instead of looking on racks, but also very helpful for a rack-focused thrift store, is never wear gloves. Now, I know some people are really grossed out by things. If you have something like germophobia or something like that, different situation. If you can do it, avoiding wearing gloves is so important. I see so many people at the Goodwill outlet in the bins digging with gloves on, and I'm like, how do you find anything that way? You have to use your eyes. That's it? That's not the way to find high quality items. Your eyes can deceive you. That's why you see so many Target things in the thrift store that you think are cute, and you're like, oh, that could be designer, and then you're like, oh, it's from Target. Your eyes are not gonna be the most helpful of resources, but when you're digging or looking through racks and you're just feeling the clothes on the top, your biggest asset is your fingers. If you can feel something, then you can feel its quality. That's like Shein makes cute things, but once you feel it, you're like, oh, that is complete trash. It's the same thing. If you wear gloves in the bins, you will have such a hard time finding things. If you wear gloves in a thrift store, again, not gonna be very easy for you. You feel quality with your senses, with your fingers. A lot of things that are really soft and feel really nice, or more different kinds of fabrics, I'll get into that in a second, you can feel them the best with your fingers. So definitely don't wear gloves. It is such a hindrance to you in finding high quality items. Even though a lot of people will tell you to go to the bins wearing gloves, that is the dumbest advice. Please do not do that. Unless there's, something that's making you do that. I'm talking in general here, don't wear gloves. Tip number 4 is to know what high quality fabrics feel like. So this goes hand in hand with the gloves thing. You wanna know what on touch what cashmere feels like, what wool feels like, alpaca, angora, linen, things like this, leather. Those pieces, when you can know them by touch, you'll be so quick to pull those out of a bin, of a rack. If you know it by touch, you will be so far ahead of the rest of the game. And so these are more expensive fabrics too. People specifically will look for things that are cashmere or wool or leather or linen. But if you can know those by touch, you can grab them and sell them for a great profit. So this is one of those things. Those things are worth more money, so they're more expensive. So if you don't have those things lying around your own wardrobe, then go to the store, go to a normal just department store or something you know will have nice fabrics and go feel them there. Do a little bit of, like studying for your thrifting by feeling what those fabrics will feel like, so then you can recognize them when you get into a thrift store and feel them there. So definitely know what good fabrics feel like, because that sells a lot of garments for me. Tip number 5, maybe the most important tip, is to learn and know brands. Brands are so important when you're thrifting, guys. Like, I cannot stress enough how much brands play a role in thrifting to resell, but also just thrifting for a nice wardrobe yourself. Brands aren't everything, but they almost are. Knowing what brands sell well is very important, because a lot of people will come to fall in love with a specific brand, and then that brand will really, help them find their style. So they're looking for things from that specific brand. And a lot of people curate their wardrobes around specific brands that they come to love. So knowing some really nice brands that will resell from different categories, like outerwear, like dresses, and all of these different things will be super helpful. I personally have curated a list for you guys. It's all for you guys. All this research I have done into all of these different brands that resell really well, where I give you guys brand names and I put up the logos on the screen. If you guys haven't seen any of those videos, go check out the playlist, because it is so helpful, and it's literally just to help you guys. So knowing brands, very important. And this is the thing, some brands are more obscure, and so it's kind of hard to figure out what things are worth money and what things aren't. But the more time you put into researching, or just even watching, some of that research can be watching YouTube videos. Just watching and just even hearing a brand once might be the key to you remembering it out in the wild while you're thrifting. So put in a little bit of time and you guys will thank me later. Tip number 6 sounds a little bit like the last tip, but it is to learn logos. Very different. A brand, is the whole thing, that everything that they sell falls under their brand. The logo is going to help you find and recognize that piece in the wild. So I'm thinking about putting together a video where I just show you tons and tons of logos and tell you what they are for and if they're worth selling. I haven't gotten around to doing that yet, but instead of having to search through every single garment to try to find its name on it, a lot of pieces nowadays will have a brand's logo just on like the corner of the garment. So sometimes I will just spy a Lululemon piece across the row because I recognize the logo. Or same thing with Athleta, Arc'teryx, Patagonia. There's all these different things that have specific logos that if you can recognize them without having to see the actual brand name, you're gonna be so much better off and you're gonna save so much time while thrifting. So learn those brand logos. Tip number 7, this applies to more of a brick and mortar regular thrift store, and that is to search their new racks as soon as they come out. So some thrift stores let you do this, some people don't care, some people do. So you just kind of have to know your thrift store, but if they let you look through the new inventory before they put it out on the floor, a lot of times at the thrift stores, they will wheel out just garment racks full of all the new inventory, and then they'll have one person assigned to be putting those things away. So while they are taking some things to go put them in the specific section they go to, you can easily look through that whole rack really quickly, and that is how you find pieces that no one else has looked through. Because most of the thrift store, other people have looked through already, so sometimes you can find things that people don't know about, but the new rack is such a great way to look and see things that are fresh that nobody else has seen yet, or maybe just a few people have seen. The same thing with the putback racks. A lot of places no longer have dressing rooms in the thrift stores, at least around me. If your thrift store has a dressing room and they have a rack where they can put the discards that they don't want, looking through that is always helpful too, because sometimes you'll find some really cute things that somebody else has curated there. So new racks, putback racks, but especially those new racks, guys. Tip number 8 is to be aware of how donations work in the thrift store. Now, my tip is when you find something that's amazing in a certain size, is to go and look through that size in every other category. because usually when you're donating or making donations, you're donating a whole bag of items. So they're going to be different though, and they're going to end up in different parts of the store, but they're all from the same person. So if I find a Beholden dress in a size 2, maybe I need to go look through the rest of the jeans in a size 2, because if you have a high quality piece in the dress section, you might have a high quality piece that you donated in the jeans section too. You follow me? Tops too, blouses, jackets. If I find a couple really nice pieces in the same size across the store, I will look through every single section. It's harder to figure out what size shoe they are because that doesn't always correlate, but if you find something in a really good size, like a men's size large, then I am looking through all those men's size large pieces, because you never know. If you find quality, you're probably going to find quality in the same size from somebody that's donated from their same closet, but it's just going to be in different areas of that thrift store. Tip number 9 on how to thrift like a pro is to go when other people are not thrifting. Now, I understand that most people have a full-time job. They're working during the day, so almost everybody that's going to go thrifting and is looking will be looking during the weekends or during their lunch break. So as somebody that has a different kind of schedule, I like to go either right in the morning when something opens or at a random time in the afternoon. I just pop in at random times because there's nothing worse than going to a Goodwill at lunchtime when everybody's going to the Goodwill and it's just like a madhouse. Or the weekends can be crazy. Unless there's like sales going on, the weekends are not usually the best time to thrift. Sometimes I'll go thrift on a weekend because Jeremy's off on the weekend, and sometimes we'll go together. But on the whole, I try to avoid going when I know everybody's going to be going to the thrift store, because it's not easy to find good things if you are squished and always having people like press around you and trying to get to where you're looking. It's not easy to find a lot of good stuff because there's so many more eyes going on pieces. You're not going to be able to find as many new racks. It's going to be a lot more people having to work at the register if there's a lot of people in the store. So try to go when other people are not going. Maybe that looks like going after work instead of during lunch break or the weekend. I don't find as many people going right after work because they want to go home. So whatever works for you is the best, but try not to go when every single person in the world is going to be in that thrift store. And then tip number 10 is to pick and choose where you're going to look. So I did suggest some really high profit areas to look in, but here's the thing. Everybody enjoys reselling different things. Everybody enjoys wearing different things. If you are a reseller who absolutely despises picking up jeans, then you don't have to look in the jeans section. Pick and choose. Go where you enjoy reselling, because if you go and you pick things that you don't enjoy reselling, then it's going to feel more like a job. And I know it is a job, but also you can enjoy yourself and make so much more profit if you are more excited to be working on listing and sending and doing all these different things with pieces that you're actually excited about. So if you're really into purses and shoes, you go Glen Coco, you go pick up those purses and shoes. You just stick to what you like, but also, venture out a few times and maybe you'll surprise yourself and find another category that you enjoy reselling. But you don't have to go to every single section of the thrift store. I'm not going to go into the tank top section. I don't like selling jeans, but I'm getting better at it. Just different things that you can pick and choose what you want to do. Pick and choose where you go in the thrift store. You don't have to go everywhere. So those are my 10 tips to thrift like a pro. Those are the things that I do every time I go thrifting. And I would highly recommend, if you guys are getting into thrifting or have been thrifting and are seasoned, to try out some of these if you don't do it yourself. And I think it'll really make a difference for you. So thank you guys so much for watching. You guys should definitely go check out some of my brand videos after this if you enjoyed this video. That will help you thrift like a pro to the max. But while you're here, if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. But I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And until the next video, bye.